Good morning, and welcome to the Morning Report. My name is William Austin. I trust that you are well this glorious day. And it is a beautiful day here in West Central Florida. Yeah, if you're not here, it kind of sucks to be you. It's nice. It really is. It really is nice. When we got up this morning about 8:30, the temperature out there was like 64 degrees. Humidity is way down. The sun is out. The birds are singing. There's a slight breeze. As nice as it is, folks, let me help you. Don't come here. Well, come here and visit. Bring lots of money. And then more importantly, spend lots of money. And most importantly, go home. That's really the Florida mantra. Us Floridians talk about this all the time. I had one of my former clarinet students come visit me yesterday. She was my student like 15 years ago. So it's really nice when they come back as grown-ups and visit the old man and see how he's doing and stuff. And we talked about this, all the pictures that, all the video that people see on the internet and, their dog in Florida for spring break and this and that. Most of that stuff, not Floridians in those pictures. Floridians don't do spring break. I don't know. It's April. It's near the Ides of April, so I don't really know how people who are outside of the state of Florida view Floridians in Florida. Let me help y'all. Let me be your Floridian, your special Floridian. Floridians don't do spring break. Only new Floridians kind of do spring break, because what Floridians know is that what people come down for spring break to do, we're doing all the time. We can do any time we want. We could drive to Orlando and go to Disney. We could drive to Daytona and go to the beach. We can drive to Clearwater and go to the beach. We could fly down to Miami and go to the beach. We can do all that stuff all the time. And most of the time, we only want to do it when it's not super hot or super crowded. And that time where it's really warm and really crowded, is spring break. So when you see the big crowds down in South Beach and in Clearwater and the like, all the partiers, I can almost guarantee you that very few of those people are Floridians. Because Floridians we're just waiting for y'all to go home. Because in a minute it's gonna get dang gone hot. It's gonna get dang gone hot. Hot. And we went out to the beach before you got here. There you go. And when it gets dang on hot, only a few of us will be able to go to the beach. Why? Because it's dang on hot. And at that point, we're pretty much assured that it's too hot for y'all to be here. I'm telling you. It's too hot for y'all to be here. So we're going to go to the beach then. Some of us will go to the beach in July when it's hot. And it's a summer hot for y'all where y'all are. So a lot of the pictures that you see, those aren't Floridians. Those aren't people who live here. Those are people who live in New York, people who live in Chicago, people who live other places. Because Floridians don't do spring break. We just don't do spring break. You go to one of the theme parks and it's packed. And it's packed from people who don't live here. That's the deal. It's packed with people who don't live here. There you go. There we are. All right, listen, we got some more stories that circle about the these pockets of resistance that we've been talking about. There's so much negativity. There's absolutely so much negativity about what the left is doing, what Biden's doing, what the left is doing, what Democrats are doing. And, other people are saying other things. Now, if you are hooked and you can't get away from CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, NBC, if you can't get away from the New York Times or the Washington Post, and you have sort of found yourself here in some weird way, good, because there are other people. There are other stories. There are other sources. Before we go, I'm going to go through a whole list, an entire list of sources where the Morning Report, Fight Back Media, and the Swanson Report, are able to glean what else is going on, things that that the mainstream media aren't covering. Maybe you'll want to glom on one of those too. So in the meantime, we're going to take a little break. We'll be back with more of the Morning Report. This is Morning Report 305. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is a production of Fight Back Media. We'll be back right after these messages. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or phone number. My florist is Blooming Days Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. We are in tumultuous times here on the internet. Many platforms are finally taking this opportunity to rid themselves of conservative voices. A lot of you are learning how this internet game is played and are wondering if there is a place for you online. Well, yes, there is. freedomforum.website is providing a place for everyone to be, including conservatives. freedomforum.website is dedicated to the First Amendment and free speech for everyone. Join us there and speak your mind. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com, and you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or an experienced investor, you will find useful information about how to choose the right property, making an offer, negotiating, financing, mortgage rates, moving, and everything involved in making an informed decision on buying a home, especially in today's market. If you currently own property or are thinking about selling it, this site, SusanWellington.com, offers information about preparing your home for sale, selecting the right agent, pricing your home appropriately, marketing it effectively, and going through the inspection process, and of course receiving a timely market evaluation. Please go to SusanWellington.com as a great resource, and if you need more information on anything, please contact Susan Wellington at susan@kdpremierrealty.com. That's Susan at kdpremierrealty.com.
A conservative who seeks truth over the conventional statist wisdom, coming to you from the southern headquarters of FightbackMedia.com, your host, Willie Lawson.
All right, we're back. Thank you ever so much for joining us, for rejoining us, and sticking with us. We appreciate it. All right. Again, my name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of FightbackMedia.com. 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 Everybody's belabored, including us here at the Morning Report, the Major League Baseball decision to move their All-Star game out of Atlanta, potentially sucking out $100 million on that weekend of business to a lot of black-owned businesses in Atlanta. Did you know there were black-owned businesses in Atlanta? It is Atlanta. They do call it Chocolate City for a reason. Good. Will baseball ever get a commissioner that isn't a dumbass again? My guess is no. It just boggles the mind sometimes. The virtual signaling and the lack of, and the extreme lack of foresight and just thought. It's just incredible. It blows my mind. But in any case, there you go. So and of course, ostensibly over the Jim Crow 2.0 election laws, when every day, including today, the truth about Georgia's Integrity Act starts to bubble to the surface. Now, there's an article on the Breitbart.com site. Yeah, we get our news from Breitbart as well. Of a group of black ministers and pastors announced yesterday that it's published a full-page ad in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution to address the lies being told by Joe Biden and Stacey Abrams about the Georgia Election Integrity Act of 2021. So they took out a full page. These pastors took out a full page ad in a major U.S. newspaper. And I have to say, good on the Atlanta Journal-Constitution for accepting that ad and running it. The advertisement features 2 columns, one of lies and one of truth, with the truth column dispelling Biden's and Abrams' claims. Here we go. Here's one of the lies. The new law restricts early voting. The truth is, the law actually, we've explained this here, the law actually expands early voting hours and additional weekend voting opportunities, including Sundays. Now, Sundays were a big deal. Now, I don't think people should be voting on Sundays personally myself, but you know what? Nobody asked Willie. Now, they should have. But they didn't ask me. Before, the law was silent on Sunday. I mean, it's true. It was silent on Sunday. But now, and I'm sorry, and then only 16 of the 159 counties in Georgia, only 16 of the 159 counties in Georgia had Sunday voting. Only 16. And now there are provisions that all 159 counties can have election or have early voting on Sunday. That sounds like expansion, not contraction. Right? That sounds like expansion, not contraction. Here's a lie. Voter ID requirements are racially discriminatory. That's one of the things that has stuck in my craw personally. Being a person of color, are you saying that getting an ID is too hard for me? Are you going to say that to my face? You can't get an ID. It's too hard. It's too expensive. You can't operate a computer. Thank you, Joe Biden. Sit your old ass down somewhere. The truth is, IDs are necessary for numerous everyday activities. The law even lets voters use documents like utility bills instead of state-issued IDs. So you got an electric bill, you got a water bill, you got a garbage bill, you can use that. Oh, and in Georgia, you can get a state ID for free. So don't hit me with, well, they can't, people can't afford them IDs. Them IDs are expensive. Actually, they're not expensive. They're not expensive anywhere. And in Georgia, they're free. So if you could get to the wherever, you can get to the DMV or wherever, and you can get a free ID. There are normally at least a year, sometimes 18 months between elections, depending on what election it is. It's 4 years between the election for president. It's 2 years between every election for U.S. House of Representatives. And it just depends on where the cycle is for senatorial elections, mayoral elections, city council elections, county commission elections, that kind of thing. So there's usually at least a year between elections. So in a year, in 12 months, in 365 damn days, to tell somebody that, to look at me and say it is not possible for someone who wants to participate because in a year they can't find their way to a DMV or to anywhere that issues these Georgia IDs for free. You have got to be freaking kidding me. Especially if they're a person of color like myself. It's stupid. Here's a lie. Restrictions on distributing food and water to voters are intended to make voters more uncomfortable. And especially minority voters, because you know how we like to eat. We like to have some fried chicken and some Kool-Aid while we're standing in line. Here's the truth. The law only prohibits using free food and beverages as a form of electioneering. Here's what they don't want people to do. They don't want people to walk up with a water bottle that says, vote for Willie Lawson for a county commission. That's what they don't want. Which is that level of electioneering is already prohibited. So this idea that they want people to stand out there in the heat for 16 hours and won't bring them water, that's just cruel. I think I heard Biden say that. It's just dumb that this is what they're saying. Here's a lie. The new law eliminates the absentee ballot drop boxes. That is certainly not true. Drop boxes never existed before. This is one of those things that this is only COVID related. Drop boxes never existed before. There was never anywhere, actually anywhere in the nation that I'm aware of. Now, if you are, you can comment in the comment section there on YouTube, or you can comment wherever you're hearing this. Or you can send me an email at fightbackmedia@gmail.com, 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 and let me know if there are places where there are just indiscriminate drop boxes, so you could drop off your absentee ballot just anywhere on the street, down this dark alley, just drop it off. Most of these boxes were in, if you places like Oregon I think Oregon has had mail-in ballots. Are almost totally that way for a while, and but most of those places are like in the city hall building, county commission building, county seat building, that kind of thing. But these absentee ballot drop boxes didn't exist before. Drop boxes, so the law creates rules to keep them now. That's it, and they're not outside; they're inside and secure, so people can keep an eye on them. Somebody should be directing a camera at them to make sure that you can't cheat and I can't cheat. Let me help you with that again. For those who want to fight me on this, fight me. So they should be indoors with a camera on them, 2 cameras on them as far as I'm concerned. Somebody go out and buy a $100 Ring camera and put that right on the box. Right? To make sure that I can't cheat, you can't cheat either. There you go. Here's the 5th lie. The new law allows takeovers of a local election administration. The law protects voters when the local officials fail to prevent excessive lines or struggle to process absentee ballots. Now, here's what happens. If Boogaloo County still has lines of people waiting for an hour, and they just can't, for some reason, they're just dumbasses and can't figure it out. Yes, it does provide for the state to come in and do some stuff. Now, here's what the state can come in and do. The state can come in and basically say, you got to have more polling places, or you got to have more machines. You have to find a way. It forces Boogaloo County. There's no Boogaloo County in Georgia, by the way. I know that. It forces Boogaloo County to get their act together and do what they have to do to make sure that people aren't in line for an hour or 2 hours trying to vote, especially in presidential elections. That's what it does. That's what it does. There's nothing, quote, racist, end quote, about the Election Integrity Act of 2021. It's certainly not Jim Crow 2.0, the ad stated. Your lies are now devastatingly minority small business. Your lies are now devastating minority small businesses in Atlanta following the Major League Baseball's decision to move its All-Star game to Denver, a lily white city, resulting in a loss of $100 million in business. Enough's enough. Easy to vote, hard to cheat. The ad read boldly along the bottom. As our ad points out, the lies that Biden and Abrams are telling about this law are just another example of political theater. She signed. Like election lies have consequences. Again, the Major League Baseball decisions to relocate the All-Star game to a lily white city of Denver in response to the left's irresponsible, baseless assertions will deprive hardworking Georgians, including countless black-owned businesses and their employees, of much-needed economic boosts that would have helped them recover from the pandemic-induced economic downturn. You gotta love it, baby. Pockets of resistance, pushback, be encouraged. We'll be back right after these messages with more of the Morning Report, which is a production of FightbackMedia.com, FightbackMedia.com, FightbackMedia.com. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or an experienced investor, you'll find useful information about how to choose the right property, making an offer, negotiating, financing, mortgage rates, moving, and everything involved in making an informed decision on buying a home, especially in today's market. If you currently own property or are thinking about selling it, this site, SusanWellington.com, offers information about preparing your home for sale, selecting the right agent, pricing your home appropriately, marketing it effectively, and going through the inspection process, and of course receiving a timely market evaluation. Please go to SusanWellington.com as a great resource, and if you need more information on anything, please contact Susan Wellington at susan@kdpremierrealty.com. That's susan@kdpremierrealty.com. One of the things that I get asked most is, where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area? Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com, and you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. We are in tumultuous times here on the internet. Many platforms are finally taking this opportunity to rid themselves of conservative voices. A lot of you are learning how this internet game is played and are wondering if there is a place for you online. Well, yes, there is. freedomforum.website is providing a place for everyone to be, including conservatives. freedomforum.website is dedicated to the First Amendment and free speech for everyone. Join us there and speak your mind. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or phone number. My florist is Bloomingdale's Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com.
A conservative who seeks truth over the conventional statist wisdom, coming to you from the southern headquarters of FightbackMedia.com, your host, Willie Lawson.
All right, we're back. Thank you ever so much. Listen, if you have an opportunity to patronize some of the people who we talk about on this program, like if you're local and you're buying flowers, you should be going to www.bloomingdays.com and saying, hey, listen, heard your ad on the Morning Report. Willie really likes you a lot. I mean, he just likes you a lot. And so I thought I'd order some flowers. As a matter of fact, I'm going to order some flowers and have them sent to Willie. What? Yeah. You can send me flowers, but you can only send me flowers if you use bloomingdays.com. Don't go to some 1-800 blah 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 or flowers dot blah 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 blah. I don't want that crap. I want it from the source. I want it from a local source that I know will do a great job. Yeah, if you're looking, I mean, if you and the real estate market is hot here in Florida, and so go to the website, go to SusanWellington.com, get some help. Get some help. Don't try to wade into this market by yourself, because you're gonna get burned because it's hot. Get some help. Get some information. We appreciate that. And if you're looking for more conservative resources, TBCTampa.com. And if you look, and if you're tired of Facebook, and if you're tired of Twitter, and if you're tired of Instagram, if you're tired of YouTube, go ahead. Freedomforum.com. Freedomforum.website is where you want to be. At least a little bit. That way you can take a break. It's like taking your mask off. It is like taking your mask off. You may still end up in Facebook and Twitter or whatever, but Freedomforum that website is a place you can take the mask off a little bit, get a breather, enjoy the fun, enjoy the freedom. Alrighty. And the other pockets of resistance, and this is so important that we know that these things are happening. That's really the deal. In North Carolina, 3 Republicans have recently introduced legislation that would bar doctors from prescribing transgender drugs or to performing gender transition surgeries on individuals younger than 21. Bill 514, called Youth Health Protection Act, is defined as an act to prevent minors from administration of puberty blockers, and cross-sex hormones and other related actions, procedures, and treatments. I don't know why it says 21. I don't know if I like that. I think it should be 18. I think it should be that if they're going to talk about minors, it should be minors. If someone can go off and take a bullet in their ass for their country, I guess they should be able to decide to have their penis chopped off. Okay. That's me. The measure introduced by GOP Senators Ralph Hayes, Warren Daniel, and Norman Sanderson would also protect the rights of parents to withhold consent for any treatment, activity, or mental health care services that are designed or intended to form their child's conceptions of sex and gender, or to treat gender dysphoria or gender nonconformity. The legislation would also block the state's interference with counsel or other guidance consistent with the conscience of religious belief, and would bar state taxpayer dollars from being used to fund transgender medical procedures or to pay for health insurance coverage that includes such procedures. Doctors who violate the law could have their licenses revoked or incur civil penalties or other forms of disciplinary action. The bill has been referred to the Committee on Rules and Operations of North Carolina Senate. Well, the bill is now in committee. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. So, the bill is an essential measure to protect the health, the safety, and the welfare of adolescents, teens, and young adults in North Carolina from chemical and surgical interventions that are destroying individual lives and families across our nation. This is what the North Carolina Family Policy Council President John Rustin said, and he elaborated on this. Let me help you. These drugs and body mutilating surgeries cause sterility and irreversible physical damage to young people suffering from gender dysphoria and other challenges. Because 80% or more of teens who experience gender dysphoria eventually identify as their biological sex, the compassionate approach is to provide wise counsel and resist the cultural trend to rush into harmful hormone therapies and gender transition procedures. Now, we've talked on this show a lot about data and models. Well, the data is saying that a lot of people, it's saying as high as 80% of people who are going through this, and most people are going through some. Not everybody. I mean, some people are just want to be seen. Are going through this, are saying this is. They end up settling where they started. That's the data. That's the data. So the compassionate thing would be, you know what? Let's just talk about this until it settles out. It doesn't stop anybody from. It really doesn't stop anybody from. I guess if you want to live your life, if you're a dude and you're 6'4" and you got hands that can palm a basketball, if you want to live your life not as Bob but as Betty, I guess you still can. Even in North Carolina, nothing stops you. It doesn't. I mean, there's no law that stops you from wearing makeup, eyelashes, wearing a dress, high heels. Nothing stops you from doing that. If you want to live your life as Betty and not as Robert, I guess you can. But what this does is keep these doctors and these freaking monsters from administering drugs and surgery to children. This law doesn't stop a 34-year-old. This doesn't stop a 34-year-old chick who has been Doris from becoming Daniel. It doesn't. Supporters of the LGBTQ blah 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 agenda and that denounce the bill as blocking health care from young people. Not at all, because these are the same people who think abortion is health care. This is why we are doing these stories on the Morning Report. We want to encourage you. We want to have you be able, be strong enough to stand up and go, abortion is not health care. Abortion is murder. Abortion doesn't make anybody healthier. Does it? Especially the child who was perfectly healthy before you ripped it apart as if it were going through a damn wood chipper. Injecting an 11-year-old boy with estrogen or hormone blockers so they don't get pubic hair, so they don't get underarm hair, so they don't develop the musculature, so they don't develop the skeleton of a man through puberty. So they don't develop facial hair and all that stuff. Well, facial hair is pubic hair. It's all the same. You get pubic hair, you get hair everywhere else. Is not making the child healthier. Is it? You're not making them healthier. You're screwing with them in a way that they may never recover from. That causes all sorts of other side effects. You're not making them healthier. So this idea that that the left has about giving these children these drugs is health care. Health care is supposed to make you healthy. It's supposed to make you healthier. It's supposed to make you stronger, bigger, faster, stronger, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. None of this stuff does. So here's what they say. They say transgender youth have the best chance to thrive when they are supported and affirmed, not singled out and denied critical care. There's no critical care here. That is backed by virtually every leading health authority. Not true. This is according to Reverend Jasmine Beach Ferreira, Executive Director of the Campaign for Southern Equality. Give me a dang on break. A person's gender identity shouldn't limit their ability to access health care or be treated. And be treated with dignity and respect. Well, letting you do any damn thing you want to, no matter what, is not dignity and respect. Sorry. The proposal in North Carolina will almost certainly not become law. Despite GOP majorities in both the Senate and the House, the AP stated, observing that Governor Roy Cooper is a Democrat. And well, you know what? We can pray, can't we? Now we got something to act on. All right, let's see here. We're at 38 minutes. We got one more story to encourage you with. Alrighty. Now, I know that a lot of us have not been really happy about Doug Ducey. Doug Ducey? You mean Doug Ducey? Yeah, Doug Ducey in Arizona. But I tell you what, the governor did, I will always give people their due. Not if, even if I don't agree with them 100%, because I don't have to. And let me help you with something. We have to stop thinking that we've got to be in ideological lockthink with everybody at 100% all the time. And that's the only way that we can get along. We don't have that. We don't do that with anybody. We can't. It's not possible. So do you go to the grocery store and do you interview the cashiers to make sure that you're in a identical lockthink with them? Do you make sure that you go to the same church and that you believe in the same God and the same principles? Do you do that with anybody? No. Some people you just go and have them check out your groceries and you say good morning, how you doing? You have a pleasant conversation. You may make a joke and you may move on. The things you agree on, and the things that you don't agree on with, most people we ignore. So let's go ahead and do that with Governor Doug Ducey. The governor signed on Friday legislation that prohibits donations for election operations in the state of Arizona. Now, this is important. This is super important. It comes after Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and his wife in September 2020 announced that they made a $300 million donation to two nonprofits to, quote, promote safe and reliable voting in states and localities during the COVID-19 pandemic. Jack Dorsey of Twitter did something similar. They provided money to influence the election process using COVID-19 as cover, which is why we talked about this, a little bit ago, about these boxes that, these drop boxes showing up and that kind of thing showing up. They're bought and paid for by Facebook, and they were bought and paid for by Twitter and other folks under the cover of COVID, right? Which started something injected something into the election process a lot of times in a lot of places that hadn't been there before, that could not be covered or countered or dealt with by election authorities in these places. And that was on purpose. Governor Doug Ducey has said companies, entities cannot do that anymore. Now, that doesn't stop Zuckerberg and his wife or Jack Dorsey or Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos from funding nonprofits that are involved in this or that. But they can't inject themselves. They cannot inject themselves into the election process. If they want to go out there and give money to people who are informing the voters about this or that or the other, they can do that. But they cannot inject themselves into the voting process. The process is the collecting of ballots and the like into the election process. I hope that people can understand how that is. These donations will help provide, and this is what the Zuckerberg and his wife and Bezos and these guys said. These donations will help provide local and state officials across the country with the resources, training, and infrastructure necessary that every voter who intends to cast a ballot is able to, and ultimately to preserve the integrity of our elections. It's not their place. They describe the nonprofits as, quote, nonpartisan. Yeah, most of the money, $250 million, went to the Center for Tech and Civic Life, which specializes in collecting data on candidates and races across the nation and on training poll workers. It was founded by former managers and staff of the New Organizing Institute, a progressive nonprofit that was training Democrat digital organizers. Ducey, a Republican, said Friday that the money that the state received last year from organizations with funding from Zuckerberg's foundation was helpful and used with integrity, quote, end quote. That's what. See, this is Doug. This is what they call you, Doug Ducey. But he also added that election officials should not be forced to rely on private grants for voter outreach, staffing, and other expenses in the future. While he said nothing in the new law should be interpreted as a sign the state is unappreciative, the bill is needed to preserve the integrity of elections and voter confidence. All right, that's a half-ass thing, but you signed the bill. That's all I care about, and we should be encouraged by it. There you go. Alrighty, well, thank you ever so much for spending some time with us in the Morning Report today. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is a production of FightbackMedia.com, FightbackMedia.com, FightbackMedia.com. Join us there. And you can also, if you click on more and hit that drop-down menu, you will see the SwansonReport.net, 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 my Ride or Die Paul Sponson's website. It is fabulous. So until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, Take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you.
We appreciate the time you took today to listen to the broadcast. Please check the links below on how to further interact with the FightbackMedia.com network. Please remember to like and share this broadcast with your like-minded friends and family. Also, we'd appreciate your subscription to the broadcast, and make sure to hit the notification bell so you're notified when we upload new content.